So this is going to be a short video about how to get what you want. Today we'll talk about how to get what you want every single time, and I will explain it to you in detail in this video. At the end, I will reveal to you what made me get what I want in my life, and then you can see for yourself how you can implement that. Let's get started. So there are many theories of how to get success in any type of area, because it doesn't matter what type of area you want, the same principles apply. It may be a bit different here and there, but overall the same principle of success applies wherever you go. And what I see with a lot of people is that they kind of get confused about what that is. What is exactly the thing you need to do to get success in a certain area of your life? Now, this could be any area of your life. This could be about relationships. This could be about spirituality. This could be about happiness. This could be about your family life. This could be about career. It could be about anything. In all these areas, you want to achieve success, right? Or at least in one of these areas, you want to achieve success. The way that I have been struggling with it before was that I was in a place where I thought I was doing things that were improving my life or was moving the needle, but I was actually self-sabotaging. I'm gonna give you an example, yeah? So I started this YouTube channel, right? I started this YouTube channel, and the first few years I kind of sabotaged it. You know, I put out content here and there. I didn't really work on making good videos. I didn't really work on editing a lot. And now I have stopped sabotaging myself, right? So I'm uploading very frequently, around 4 times a week. I'm buying, I just bought a new microphone. I'm planning to buy a new camera. Of course, I have my light and stuff. So you can see that I'm doing the things to become more competent, right? I'm increasing my skills. I'm increasing my skill of public speaking by making a lot of videos. I'm increasing my editing skills so I get better at editing. I'm increasing my equipment. I'm trying to evolve and become better and become more successful. And the reason I feel so confident about this becoming successful is because I'm not going to give up. As before, I would give up. I would stop. I would take a break, or, you know, not upload for a month or whatever, right? So consistency is very important. And I would say that's the number one thing. If you're there every single day, doesn't matter if you're doing a really great job or just a kind of not so good job. If you just come up and show up every day, there's gonna be improvement, right? But then also for how long you're gonna show up matters too, right? If you show up for 10 minutes, you're gonna get less results than someone that shows up for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. But you just got to start wherever you are at. So if only the thing you got right now is 10 minutes a day, then start there. And when the snowball starts rolling, you start to want to spend more time on it. I would say consistency is very important. For example, with spirituality, if you meditate every single day, you start to notice a difference. Even if it's just 10 minutes, you start to notice a difference. And when you stop doing, you also notice the difference between when you were doing meditation and when you were not doing meditation. The consistency is a compound effect. You see, to make something compound over time, you got to put in a certain amount of effort, right? And it got to be consistent. Without the consistency, there's not really something compounding, and you're not taking advantage of the compound interest. You see, compound interest means every day you show up, you get a little better, and through that, you start to have momentum. And momentum is important because momentum can make you go from where you are right now to an unbelievable amount of success that you wouldn't have expected even, right? But the thing is, that cannot happen, that exponential growth cannot happen unless you're consistent. So consistency is key. They always say that, right? Consistency is key, but you got to be honest with yourself. How much can you be consistent, right? If you say, I'm going to be consistent, I'm going to upload every week, but you're not going to do that because you know yourself, then don't do that, right? But I know for myself, I'm going to upload every week or 3 times a week, right? I know that I'm going to do that. So I'm having this kind of rule with myself with at least uploading 3 videos a week, right? That's my rule. That's my rule of consistency. I got to at least put out 3 pieces of content every week on YouTube. That's the consistency part, right? So be realistic with yourself, right? Don't go all in and say, I'm gonna spend every day 2 hours on it when you cannot even spend 10 minutes on it for longer than 2 weeks, right? Be realistic with yourself, be honest with yourself, because a lot of times you want to do more, but you know that you cannot do more and you will just burn out, right? Don't burn out, okay? If you think like, I can do more, but you cannot, don't do more. Be conscious of how much you can do, okay? Because if you're not conscious of how much you can do, you will do too much, and that also becomes a self-sabotage thing, where you do too much and then you burn out and then you stop and you need to break. That's not what you want, right? You want to have something that you could do for years, right? So think about years, decades. In a year, how much time can you realistically spend on this every single day? If it's 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. If it's 20 minutes, do 20 minutes. If it's 30 minutes, do 30 minutes. If it's 2 hours, do 2 hours. Right? But be realistic with yourself. Know yourself. Because you're going to have off days. You're going to have sick days. You're going to have days that you're not feeling like it. But you still got to be consistent. So be realistic with what you can do right now. So another thing that's actually very important, and maybe even more important, is that you're willing to fail, okay? The amount of failure that you should have as a human being, the amount of embarrassing moments you should have as a human being to get towards where you want to go, to get what you want, is a tremendous amount of failure, okay? I think most people don't understand how much you have to embarrass yourself, fail, make mistakes, how much you need to do that. Because if you just know the amount of how much you need to fail, you're like, oh, it makes sense I'm not successful at this because I've not failed enough, you see? Only when you start to understand how much you need to fail, you actually know what it takes to succeed, okay? Failure and success come together. They're not separate. The only difference between failure and success is the one that keeps on failing will eventually succeed. If you don't keep on failing, you're not even in the game, you see? To be in the game, whatever game you're doing, if the game is relationships, spirituality, happiness, wealth, whatever you want, you're trying to get that, okay? You're trying to get what you want. Everyone is, right? To some extent, we're trying to get something that we want, right? I'm trying to grow this channel, right? So we're all trying to get what we want. To get to where we get what we want, we have to be consistent, and we have to fail, and we have to experiment, okay? Experiment. And I had a coaching, and I didn't learn a lot about this coaching besides the fact that you need to experiment and that you need to do a lot, okay? And those were like the basic principles that I saw, that applies to everything. Experimenting applies to everything, like trying different stuff. testing things out, failing to gather data. You see, for example, if you want to do meditation, you got to try different types of meditation for you. Does this meditation work for you? Does that meditation work for you? Does that meditation work for you? You got to try out maybe 10, 20, 30 different types of meditations before you find something that you really resonate with and that really works for you. But if you're like, I'm just gonna put this meditation on, I don't really feel like it, I don't really resonate with it, it's just not really working for me, but I'm anyways gonna do it. That's not how you get success, you see. Success is not just doing. This is kind of the 9-to-5 work mentality where it's just like you get a task and you need to do it, right? Hey, do this. Okay, I do that, right? When you're trying to succeed, you need to get away from a 9-to-5 mentality and look at things from a more entrepreneurial perspective, where it's like we're going to try everything. We're going to experiment with this, with that, with that, with that, with that, right? Test out different things. What resonates for you, what resonates with other people, because probably in the areas that you're trying to succeed in, you also have to deal with other people, right? In relationships, you have to deal with other people. With money, you have to deal with other people, right? With spirituality, you still have to deal with other people, right? So how you can talk with people is also a way on becoming more competent. For example, what I learned this year actually is a complete different approach to how I need to help other people. I'm no longer telling them what to do or what you should do or what kind of things you need. For YouTube, I'm doing that. But if I'm talking to a person, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions because I realize I only need to look for the right questions to ask, because nothing is more powerful than someone coming with their answer themselves. I cannot convince someone, but they can convince themselves by answering a question. So asking the right questions became really important this year in my life when I'm helping other people. Really important. So you can see growth keeps on happening, right? There's always new levels to this. So this always applies. You're not gonna be like at a point you transcend improving yourself. You're like, I have improved so much in my life. I'm so conscious, or I'm so self-improved. I no longer have to improve myself. No. Improvement always keeps on going. So you better learn how to improve, how to succeed, and learn the basic principles. So the basic principle is consistency, experimenting, testing different things, trying out different things, trying out different ways, not approaching the same thing in the same way every single time, because then you're going to get the same result, right? You want different results, so you get to try different ways. You get to try different methods. And the last thing is insecurity. Insecurity. You see, when you're insecure, you're not going to be able to succeed. When you're insecure, you're not going to be able to get what you want. Insecurity means I'm not willing to fail. You see, you're not willing to embarrass yourself. You're not willing to fail. You're not willing to put yourself out there when no one is watching. You're not willing to be embarrassed. But without embarrassment, without failure, there is no success. These come hand in hand. There is not, oh, I want to succeed, so I'm not going to do anything. What did I say there? No, I mean, there is not like, oh, I want to succeed and I'm not gonna fail, I'm not gonna make mistakes, or oh, I want to succeed. And it takes tremendous amount of failure. It takes thousands of mistakes, thousands of embarrassment, but I'm still willing to do it. I'm still willing to fail. I'm still willing to embarrass myself. That is what pushes the needle forward and gets you where you want to go. You cannot get where you want to go if you're not willing to make the amount of mistakes and failures that the people that have succeeded are willing to make. All right? So if you're not willing to lose money, okay, the amount of money that I've lost, I wouldn't even say it's lost, but the amount of money that I have invested in myself is crazy. It's ridiculous, okay? And I might sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, why did I do it? Why did I invest in that? But I don't regret it. And the reason I don't regret it is because I've grown from it. Every time I made an investment, I've grown from it. Even if not from the investment itself, but from the confidence in myself that I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out. You see? Are you willing to figure this out? Are you willing to figure out how to get what you want? For real? Or are you just saying I want something but you don't really want to? Because that's a completely different conversation, right? If you're like, I want this, but I don't really want to make any mistakes or fail or embarrass myself. I don't want it that bad. Then you don't want it. Then be honest, you don't want that. If you truly want something, if you truly want something, you're willing to embarrass yourself, you're willing to fail, you're willing to lose all your money for it. That's how I feel when I really want to succeed. Because I don't care anymore about the losses. I only care about the success, you see. Most people care about what they have, but you don't have a lot, you see. You're like, oh my, like, I don't embarrass myself right now. I want to keep it that way. And it's like, no, forget about that. Embarrass yourself, fail, make mistakes, lose money, but then win. Then get what you want. Right? If it was all that loss for nothing, it would make sense that you wouldn't do it. But if you would know, if you had to make all those sacrifices, but it would lead towards success, then you would do it, right? And the hard thing is the promise is not there, right? There's no promise that you will get what you want. But the promise is that you will not get what you want if you don't even try, if you don't even fail, if you don't make mistakes, if you don't embarrass yourself. You're guaranteed to not get what you want. You see? So that's why it's simple for me to make the choice to choose always failure, to choose always to make mistakes, to choose always to try again and again and again till you get it. Just like a kid, when it starts to walk, right? It falls, but it gets back up and it's consistent and it gains momentum. And at some point it starts to walk and then it starts to talk and then it starts to cycle. You have learned all these things, not by people saying how to do it, but by you figuring it out on yourself. By failing, by making mistakes. So I'm gonna summarize it and then I will tell how I've succeeded in certain areas in my life, and we can look at that a little bit. So to summarize, failure, insecurity, consistency. Am I missing one point? Failure, consistency, insecurity. And I think that those were the points, right? I think those were the points. So if you take this seriously, this video, I know it's not really edited nice, and I know it's not really like a professional video or anything, but it just came through me and I just had to share it with you. If you take this seriously, you will see huge improvement. okay, you'll see huge improvement. Because you're no longer playing around. You're playing a long game, right? In years and decades. You're playing a long game. You're consistent every single day. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever feels right for you. Putting effort consistently. You're failing, you're making mistakes, you're embarrassing yourself. What means you're actually willing to do what it takes to get to success. You're getting over your insecurities. You're failing, and through compound interest, you will find and get what you want. I'm going to give a few areas where I've succeeded in. For example, magic. I've had huge success with magic, right? I'm a magician with cards. I can actually show you. Right, I have all these kind of playing cards like this. And the way I actually became successful when I was younger with magic was because I was really consistent. Consistently, I was learning everything about, magic. I'm just trying to impress you. I was learning everything about magic, and I became very good at it. I became successful. I became number one in the Netherlands, and it was through years of practice. Now, I was younger, so I enjoyed doing it as well, right? What also helped to be consistent. It was not like I have to do this. I enjoy doing it. What definitely helps to be consistent. But every day I was practicing. Every day I was practicing. There was no excuse. Yeah, I had a break, I would practice. At night I would practice. During the day I would practice. In the morning I would practice. When I'm eating breakfast I would practice. Not because I have to, because I want to, of course, but through all that practice, I failed a lot. Every time I needed to learn a new trick, I need to fail again and again and again. I'm like, can I do this? It's hard, it's difficult, but then you keep going and you can do it. The magic is a little thing. It's not so much embarrassing yourself and stuff like that. But with socializing, I also had a lot of success. I got a coach, someone that helped me to become more social, to become more confident. And that was a huge thing for me because I used to be an introvert. And it was about going out every weekend, talking to people, many people, and failing and embarrassing a lot. Okay, being there and saying the wrong things, making the wrong jokes, making all the mistakes. And yet, through all that, you build up so much knowledge. Because you got to learn from your mistakes too, right? If you just make a mistake, you don't learn from it, there's no reason to make a mistake. But through all those mistakes I made, I learned from it. And I became better at it. Then another area that I found great success in is in spirituality, where I focused on inner growth, focused on healing. And I was consistent with it. Every day I was meditating. Every day I was doing inner work. And to this day, every day, my life is about inner work. My life is about spirituality. Okay, so what happens to some point when you start to be so consistent with it, it becomes part of your life. Right now, spirituality is part of my life. It's an everyday thing. It's in every area of my life. Socializing became a huge part of my life. And interacting with people, it became a huge part of my life. Magic to this day is still a huge part of my life, right? So all these things became a big part of my life. And maybe that's also one more thing that I would add to it is it should become all of your life. Okay? Spirituality is all of my life. I wouldn't say magic is all of my life, but it's a big part of my life, right? Socializing is a big part of my life. When you make it a big part of your life, when you make it all of your life, it's no longer something you have to do, right? You have to fail. You need to fail. No, you start to enjoy failure. You start to enjoy making mistakes. You start to be hungry for making mistakes because you know when I make more mistakes, I am a little closer to success. So you need to be excited about failure. You need to be excited about embarrassing yourself because you know every time you make a mistake, you embarrass yourself, you're closer and closer and closer to get what you want. I hope this makes sense. This is a really genuine video, very authentically shot. You know, you see I'm not prepared. I don't have any notes. I don't have anything prepared, right? So it's all improvisation. It might be a little bit chaotic, but I poured all my knowledge into this video. And what I'm a little bit, you know, I wouldn't say disappointed, but what I don't really like is that probably people will see this video and they will not really take it seriously. They're just like, okay, next video, right? When in fact, if you take this video and just summarize a little bit of what I have talked about here, you can literally improve yourself so much. People say work hard. That's not it. People say just repetition again and again. That's not it. You got to experiment. You got to fail. You got to embarrass yourself. Those are very key things. Yes, be consistent, but you also got to experiment and make mistakes and fail and embarrass yourself. Without that, true success will not find you. I hope this makes sense for you. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.